Hi there, guys. So this morning I'm back with another vlog where I try to give you lot a story and also show how the nervousness and anxiousness and also my mind to mouth connection has not weakened, but it's showing signs of a bit of delay. And when it comes to, of course, the nervousness, anxiety, it's there and it hasn't been there for the past 2 3 weeks or so, but it feels like it's getting stronger the last 2 3 days. So anyways, let me tell you about a story of when I was in university. So I was in university and this was towards the last days before university sort of kicked me out. It was tough, and my last year I actually succumbed to all the choices the university made for me. And even though I was sick at this time, as I explained on I think a vlog around 10 vlogs ago or so, if you go back, I was telling a story about my university and how they kicked me out. So I was sick, and I was going through sort of a jinn possession, demonic possession, whatever you want to call it. And I had a strong vomiting syndrome. So it was CHS, CVS, and it was just basically cyclical vomiting from sort of weed induced cyclical vomiting. And I was feeling dizzy, like the center of my brain stem was just, I was getting waves of just dizziness. Or like when I was walking around, I'd feel dizzy. When I would eat, that would be the worst. Like I could barely smell food and then I'd throw up. And because of that, it lasted for a few months. I lost so much weight, and then university was still ongoing, so I couldn't complete the assignments. And then they decided to give me a chance by repeating the year. So I accepted it, of course, and then I did the repeat year. And then that's when they called out the work that I actually plagiarized, apparently, from my old previous work. We were doing the same module again, explained before. And yeah, teacher decided to just kick me out. So anyways, I want to tell you a story about how my friend died, one of my closest friends. And this is something that I always not dream about, but like sometimes I get like flashes about of like how painful it must have been for him. I don't know why I keep going over how painful it must have been. Anyone that dies is going to be painful. And it's just the manner in which his life was taken. He was killed. And it happened, like I said, on my last year of university. So I was on my second year, repeat second year. It was around 2017. And he was basically a good guy. Like, he was one of my closest friends. Not in that time, so I won't lie and say, at that time we were close friends. But we were very close friends, like, years ago. And over the years, people start to, hang around with different groups and stuff, but we're still close. Whenever we see each other, it's proper nice, like, like there's been no time apart sort of thing. And then he was doing, his sort of thing. So whether that's, chasing money, working, and, just trying to find his 2 feet, just as I was at the time. I was out of university and I was trying to get money, whether that's doing illicit things or abiding by the rules. That's another thing, but I was focusing on getting money at the time as well. So we'd see each other on our adventures of getting money and we'd just bump into each other and stuff. So how it played out was, I think it was a Wednesday around 2017 or something. Funny how I know the day, but the month itself, I presume around May, I'd say. So I got the call. I was in university, so my mom called me and she said, so and so died. And because his name is sort of, a lot of the guys have his name, and as Somalis, we don't share names. Let me get that clear. But it's very common to have, like, of course, Abdi, this, that. And when you live in a city where it's sort of like a lot of Somalis, they will have, you know, names that are similar and stuff. So when I heard his name, I thought it was someone else. It's like you're not expecting someone to die, you know, but you know, death comes unexpectedly. So I was literally on my way to a takeaway shop, and I got that call. I slowed down and I tried to process it, like, who is it? I asked my mum, and she just mentioned the name again, but it still didn't ring. And after, like, you know, put the phone down, I was still trying to, you know, get food, and then I got another call, and it was someone else. I can't remember who it was, but it said the same name. And then I actually, wait, hold on. So me not knowing the name doesn't mean, like, you know, I'm distant from this guy. It's just that his name is sort of popular. So, and then the other person that called, I asked the question, like, is it so and so? And then I was told, yeah, it's him. And then it's like I felt it, like, in my chest, in my heart. I was like, no way. You know, like, I was like taken back, like shocked in a sense. And then I didn't end up getting the food. I went back to university, you know, one of the lecture rooms. Me and my other guys were in there, so like 4 or 5 guys. And then I told them, did a lot here, this guy, he died. And the university, you know, the campus that we're in and the hospital, they're actually a few-minute walk apart. And when I told them, everyone was like taken back. I couldn't believe it. Like, even from my word, it's like, no way. But I said, yeah, like, it's the second call I got. My mum called me, and you know, my mum's not gonna lie. And then we went to the hospital, made our way to the hospital, and then there's like a lot of people there. Emotional scenes, people are crying. At this time, I was, you know, I was anxious because, of course, all those people there, I haven't seen them in a long time. And when you usually do, you know, your illicit things and, you know, get money, this is that, and life isn't going the way you want it to go. Sort of, you know, losing weight, going through the little, ordeal of the gin possession and stuff. I was already in a state where I was hyper, like, focused on myself and just completely nervous. And I had DPDR, so depersonalization, I had a strong. And then one of my other cousins was there in the hospital, and he was bawling his eyes. I was crying a lot. And I was feeling in my heart, like my heart was down, you know, just seeing his aunties. I didn't see his mum, but I was just shattered. And at the same time, because I had the DPDR, I couldn't really, you know, cry. Like, this is the time where I needed to cry, like, let out the emotions that have just been, like, burning through my chest. Like, everybody else was just releasing those emotions. And at times I was feeling like, what are people going to think? Like, you're the only person that's not crying. Like, you know, there's one thing to you be that hard guy, you're not crying, but this is something like serious, emotional. Like, a close friend of mine just passed. And if I just describe how, you know, his life was taken, it was from a small incident from another youth. They had some sort of a disagreement, and what happened was, instead of, you know, nowadays a lot of people, they don't use their hands. He was carrying a blade, and he, you know, poked, and it went into some vital organs, and specifically the heart. And when you think about that, when I did at that time as well, it just made my whole body sort of like cringe, like, from, you know, just being empathic, just, you know, trying to picture what he must have went through. And no matter how much I did that, it's like it would just push me further into depersonalization. And, you know, it's like when you have DPDR, because there's all these discomforting sensations around your body. Whenever you hear something gruesome, it's like part of your body just disowns as well. Like, I wouldn't be feeling anything here. I would just be numb, and I'd have all these emotions just bottled up in my head, just disconnected from my body. That's exactly how I was feeling, like, in the hospital. When it all played out anyways, we walked out from the hospital, and then I got into my car. We sat down and, you know, just started to smoke. And then I was feeling, you know, proper emotional then, like, when I got away from everybody, and I was more like with me and two of my other friends. So it's more of like a more confined space now with just a few people. and everyone was silent. And the silence actually meant something. Like, people are just still trying to fathom what's just played out in the last 2-3 hours. So it was getting dark, and I was just smoking, and I was feeling emotional. Like, I was crying from inside, but I couldn't show it from the outside. But I got to one stage, which, not that I was, proud of, but sort of like a achievement in that sort of sense, where the last few years, whenever it got emotional, I barely cried because of the DPDR, but this time around, my eyes were a bit teary, and I was just silent, taking it all in, but I couldn't do more than just sort of a little tear tint to my eyes, and it was emotional, man. And then a few days after that was his, funeral, his burial, and it was still, I was trying to sink in, and this person's gone now, and just trying to put myself in, the family's shoes, the mother, his brother. It's like, it's unbelievable, man. But things like that happen, unfortunately, and we're all destined to die. So it's, for me, the highlight in all of that is, going through a hardship, right after a hardship, and then having to work my system, not forcefully, but just watching myself as emotions run high, bottled right to the top, and not being able to express it, and learning how, certain deaths can impact me. So I learned a bit about myself, and the story that sticks with me from all of this is, we don't really show love to the people around us, and, life's short, so it's always best to, make it clear how much you love a person. You don't have to tell them straight to their face, but small gestures make a difference. And health matters as well. So DPDR, standing in my way of showing emotions, but I'm working on that. And I do feel a bit of relief in the last few months or so, but yeah, so that's a short story anyways. And as you can see, like, I am using filler words here and there, and I'm having a bit of a difficult time trying to process the thoughts that are coming to mind and actually verbalize it and flow it out. I'm going to work on that, and I'll catch you guys on the next vlog. It's early morning right here. It's just 9 a.m. right now. So take care, guys, and keep a smile on your face. And always remember, go through the emotions. Don't neglect your body. We are humans. We are meant to feel all of these, feelings and stuff. And be proud of what you feel and own it. And without any further ado, I'll catch you guys on the next part.